a wonderful girl, and the sweetest one in town.
Hello, my darlings. Hello, my lovely, lovely people. How are we all today? So, what are we going to get up to this week? Actually, before I get into this week, I completely forgot to give you a sock update. So, first of all, let's do a sock update. So, we have one complete sock, and we are started the second sock. So that's where we got to. So yeah, at the end of last week, when did I finish the sock? Finished the sock on Wednesday night, and it's now Friday. So that's what I managed to do yesterday. So good progress being made on the socks. That took nearly a whole ball of the yarn, because they are quite, I'm not doing them on tight needles, and they are quite big and squishy, and they've got a long leg. So fortunately, I had a whole other thing. So that's excellent progress on the socks. And Annie has tried the socks on, and she's delighted. Well, the sock on, and she's delighted with it. So fabulous news all round. So that's the sock update for the week. So what are we going to tackle this week? So you might have noticed last week I put the pockets in the two dresses, and I shortened the shirt. But at the beginning of the week, I'd also talked about my blue dress. So I didn't get round to that last week. So we'll be working on that this week. And also, I think it's time to deal with this. Do you remember this?
Go.
So here's the finished garment. However, you might notice some problems. I think it's a little big, and it's a little long. Alterations are going to be needed. So it's definitely time to start altering this, because I would really like to wear it. It's perfect time of year for wearing this. So what I need to do first, what I'm going to do is put it on inside out, and start taking up the shoulders and things. And I'm going to start by taking up the shoulders, because I know that they definitely need taking up. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up the lining at the shoulders to give me access to the shoulder seam. So while I do that, before anything, I thought it would be quite a good time to have a little chat. So, first of all, thank you all so much for all the comments you leave on my videos. I love it. I love hearing what you're up to. I love hearing what you're doing. I love hearing what's bringing you joy. I love it. And even those of you that just put a little emoji, thank you. Thank you so much, because all of that helps me so much. It lets YouTube know that people are enjoying my videos, that they're worth watching, and then it'll maybe show it to more people and help me grow my channel. So even if all you manage to leave is a little emoji, thank you. I see it and I appreciate it. And for those of you that have a bit more to say, I love that too, because basically I'm quite nosy, and I feel like we're building a lovely little community here, and I love hearing what you're all up to. So apparently last week I was on holiday with one of you in Gran Canaria, which is delightful. She was watching me in her hotel in Gran Canaria, which I just thought that tickled me. That was delightful. And, I'm hearing about places all over the world, and that's really nice. But one of the things I notice in the comments is a lot of you, like myself, struggle with health. You struggle with health, and you want to be doing things and you can't always manage them, and things like that. And I understand. I see you and I understand. So, you know me. I am all about joy. I'm all about joy and happiness, and what's bringing you joy and what's bringing you happiness. But this week, I thought it would be a really good time to talk about a joy thief. Joy thief. And it's not your mother-in-law. Although, she might be. I don't know your mother-in-law. It's not your husband, although I don't know him either. It might be. But what is the biggest joy thief out there? And a lot of you will already know. It's comparison. Comparison is the biggest joy thief. So comparison can come in different forms. We can look at other people's stuff on social media and think, oh, they're doing this and they're doing that and their house looks perfect and this, that, and the next thing. And most of us know, on an academic level, most of us know that that's a very curated version of their life, and it's not really, their whole life. And most of us on one level know that, but we still do it. We still compare ourselves and we still give ourselves a hard time. The other thing is we compare ourselves with ourselves. We compare ourselves with what we were able to do, what we were able to do years ago, or what we were able to do yesterday because it was a good day, or and that in itself is not helpful. The only time that's helpful is if you're doing better and you can go, wow, look how far I've come, I'm doing so well. So that's the only good comparison. So I thought on that note, I would tell you a little story, because many of you see what I'm doing and you're like, oh, that's amazing. I'm so tired. All I can manage to do is lie in bed and crochet. I see you, I hear you, and might surprise you to know I've been there. I've 100% been there. So let's talk about it. Firstly, what you're seeing now on my videos is a fraction of my life. I like to be open and transparent with you, but I'm not showing you everything. I'm not showing you warts and all. For instance, for months now, months and months and months, unless I have an appointment, I've not been able to get out of bed before early afternoon. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is. And I've accepted that, and I get on with my day once I manage to get up. Today, I managed to have a shower and wash my hair. It's the first time I've managed to have a shower in at least 2 weeks. Go, 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 go. Excuse me. Hopefully my antihistamine will kick in soon. So, yes, I look fresh. I've got my makeup on. I've done my hair. That is rare. That is rare. The last time I had makeup on was when I filmed the introduction for the last video. So, remember that. Also, the bits of sewing and things that you see are at the most 20-minute snatches, because I'm doing my timer, I'm doing everything in 20 minutes. Those 20-minute snatches can be a good couple of hours apart. You just don't see that. I can do a 20-minute snatch and then I'm sitting on the chair with my feet up because I'm too tired to keep going. And some days I can do a 20-minute session, have a half-hour break, and then do another 20-minute session. But not often. Normally there's at least an hour in between each 20-minute session. So remember that too when you see me pottering away doing what I do. So that's me now. That's me now. But I want to tell you a story about past me. So I am now 51. When I was younger, I was very active. I used to be in athletics clubs. I used to swim. Loved doing sporty stuff. I grew up with brothers, and we did a lot of sporty stuff. But I've always had this genetic condition that has caused me problems with my joints. So I always got a lot of injuries and things. And we just, at the time, because we didn't know what it was, just assumed I was accident prone. So then, let me take you to January 2010. January 2010. And we had just come out of a period of about 2 years of very extreme and prolonged stress, involving many, many things. My husband Stuart had cancer. Kurt's epilepsy started. He started having terrible seizures during the night, and that was being diagnosed. His autism was diagnosed. Annalise's autism was diagnosed, and her triple X syndrome. And Cassie was diagnosed with ADHD. There was other things going on. We moved house twice in 9 months. A lot of things going on in our family, out with our family, in our extended family. My mum was ill. There was a lot going on, to the extent that my GP was part of a local charity, and the they gave us a family holiday because they felt we needed a break because we had been through so much. So in January 2010, we went off on a lovely family holiday. We went to a place called Centre Parks in Cumbria. And if you're British, other holiday camps are available, but if you're British, if you're a resident in the UK or you've been to the UK, you may well know about Centre Parks. It's a lovely place. It's a lovely place where you park your car in a big car park and then there's no cars allowed on the park. So it's really safe. And we were cycling everywhere. And I was cycling everywhere with the kids. And we were swimming every day and we were doing lots of fun stuff. Fantastic. So that was January. Just before we went on holiday, the company that my husband had been working for, who were brilliant with him while he had cancer, was taken over and he was made redundant. So that happened just before we went on holiday and we thought, we'll worry about it when we come back. We're not going to worry about it now. We're not going to let it spoil the holiday. We'll worry about it when we come back. So when we came back, we'd had an absolutely lovely holiday, very, full and active holiday. In the February, I came down with what I think at that point was my 4th chest infection in 12 months. And it was bad. It was bad. And then I had an adrenal collapse. My adrenal system collapsed. So for the first week, I was basically unconscious. My husband was carrying me to the toilet, pouring water down me when he could to make sure I was hydrated. The doctor was coming in every single day because, well, A, he was worried it was pneumonia, and B, I was unconscious, and this was worrying. And I had 3 small children. So we're going 15 years ago, so the youngest was 5 and the oldest was 9. And that was it. So for the next 3 months, I slept pretty much all the time. And for the next 4 years, I was bedridden. And Stuart never did get another job because he had to take over as my carer. So kind of the retirement of the redundancy was actually quite good in a way. But Stuart had to take on all the things that I did, plus looking after me. And he had to step up as the family carer, which he did magnificently. He was amazing. In the corner of my bedroom, facing me, was my sewing stuff. My sewing machine was on a little table there. I had shelves above it with all my fabrics and my yarns and everything in it. Couldn't go near it. Couldn't go near it because I couldn't get out of bed. I was still able to knit. I used to prop my arms up on 2 cushions, so when I was awake, I could knit because all I had to do was move my hands a little bit because my elbows were propped up on cushions. And the kids still laugh about it to this day. I literally used to fall asleep in mid-stitch. Sometimes I carried on doing more stitches in my sleep. I used to fall asleep in mid-sentence. I would still think I was talking, and what was actually happening was I was asleep and going, and the kids thought that was hilarious. But that's just the way it was. And the kids would come in from school, and they'd get into bed beside me and tell me all about their day. And at bedtime, they would come and each of them would come and have an hour, with me before bed, snuggled up. We would chat. We would maybe watch some stuff on our tablet or whatever. And we had cozy time. And I actually had a lovely relationship with the kids. We had really good times, even though I was stuck in bed. But I couldn't go near my sewing. And so many times over that 4 years, I nearly sold everything. I would say to Stuart, I need it out of my sight, I need it gone. And we packed everything away so it wasn't like right in my face. We packed the sewing machine away in a box and everything. And I kept saying, we should just sell it. This is it. I'm never going to sew again. Never going to sew again. I'm never going to be well enough. We should just sell it. And Stuart would say, no, you just never know, love. You just never know. Don't sell it all. Don't sell it all. Because you just never know. And he was right. Because gradually, after about 4 years, I was able to get up for a little while. Little bits at a time. Half an hour here, An hour there, out of bed. And I taught the kids how to make little wash bags. And they sewed their own little wash bags. And that was a lovely project we had a lot of fun with. And gradually, I was able to do little bits of sewing. And over the time, it took, I then had quite a severe health crisis. I had a ruptured gallbladder, which set me back a little bit. But then shortly after that, we moved to Cornwall where the weather is better and warmer, and my health picked up a lot from there on. But I still had to be very careful, because if I overdid it at all, back to bed for weeks. So for the next 3 or 4 years, I was very careful. So we're now 7 years in, and I'm doing tiny bits of sewing here and there, but not an awful lot because I'm still having to be so careful. And then gradually, the projects I was able to do got a little bigger, my health got a little better, and I was back to sewing. And I was so glad that not only had I not sold all the stuff, but when we moved from Scotland to Cornwall, bless him, Stuart packed it all up and brought it with us. And, you know, I'm so grateful to him for not letting me give up on myself. Now, if I compare what I'm able to do now to then, it's amazing. And I feel, you know, it's so much better. I'm able to do so much more. But if I compare what I'm able to do now to what I could do when I was 20, hardly anything. I've never been able to cycle again. I've been in a wheelchair ever since. When I go out and about, you know, that last holiday in January 2010 was the last time I was able to be mobile and active. Now, ever since then, I've been on crutches. I've been in a wheelchair when I'm out and about. I mean, I couldn't even look at a bike. So I don't compare myself to then because that was different. I compare myself to when I was lying in bed, unable to do anything, and this is great. This is great. So choosing your comparison is very important for your joy, because I just see progress now. I don't think about the stuff that I can't do, just see progress. And so don't compare your now to my now. And don't compare your now to my very carefully curated half-hour out of the week videos, because it's just a fraction of the story. Only look at how well you've done. If all you've managed to do today is sit up in bed and have a chat with a family member, go you. That's amazing. If all you've managed to do today is keep breathing, go you. That's amazing. And, you know, I'm so glad that you kept breathing today, because that brings us joy. We want to stay breathing, people. It's a very, very important, because I can guarantee you that your family and your loved ones would far rather you were lying in your bed just breathing and existing than not there at all, because we love each other, don't we? So if all you've managed to do today is just exist, that's brilliant. If you've managed to exist and do a little bit of crochet, even better. But never compare yourself with what you used to be able to do when you were well, or what somebody else can do, or what you think somebody else can do. Don't steal your own joy. It's, you know, it's so counterproductive. And what I learned when I was bedridden, as I was getting a bit better, what I learned was anger, frustration, you know, obviously I have suffered from depression and I have medication for that. But being angry about the illness, being frustrated about the illness, comparing myself to others, only made my recovery longer. Once I learned acceptance, and by acceptance, I don't mean giving in. I don't mean just like, oh, this is where I am and I'm never going to get up. That's not what acceptance means. What acceptance means is, this is where I am. I'm going to give myself grace and see how I am in an hour, 2 hours, tomorrow. Accept where you are now, and then move forward. There's no point in anything else actually. There's no point in looking back at how you were. There's no point in looking at someone else. Give yourself grace, accept your situation, and then keep moving forwards, one baby step at a time. And that, my friends, is how we get where we want to go. One tiny little step at a time. And don't steal your own joy. It's so sad. It's so sad when I see people stealing their own joy, because even when you're at your worst and you're just lying in bed, your mind can be wherever you want it to be, and there's still so much joy to be thought about. There's so many memories you might have, or experiences that you've had that you think, oh, that was lovely, or family members that you want to think about. There's always something to be positive about, and being positive, it's scientifically proven that positive people recover quicker from operations, are healthier. So if we want our journey to recovery, we have to try and be positive. Easier said than done, I 100% know that. But it's well worth doing. Well worth doing. Anyway, that was my little TED talk for this week. It's been on my mind a lot recently, because I read your comments, and I think about it a lot, and I think about the fact that I don't want any of you to be looking at me and thinking, oh, she's doing this and that, and I just can't do it, and I don't want that to be getting you down. I really don't want that to be getting you down. I want what I do, what I put out into the world through my videos, to be something positive in your life, something that helps towards bringing you joy and positivity. I don't want it to be something that makes you feel worse. So never compare yourself to me. Never. Because what you see is a fraction of my life, for one thing. And I'm not you. You're not me. We're different. We have different makeup. We have different situations. So just give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. And just accept where you are and keep moving forward. Because I love you guys. You're fantastic. Anyway, enough of that. I got very serious for a bit. I'm not normally so serious, but it has been on my mind, and I have been wanting to say these things. So, I've managed to open up the lining. So we're going to try on this pinafore and see how much needs to come up at the shoulders. Right, so we've got quite a lot to do, but we're going to start with the shoulders, because once I've taken up the shoulders, that'll give me a better indication as to what's going on with the bust darts and things like that. Now actually, my memory was that I needed to take it up quite a bit at the shoulders, but I don't actually think I do. I don't think there's much needing to come up. So let's have a look. Just get my stool out the way a little bit. So maybe just an inch or so. This is trickier than I would like. There we go. So, yeah, maybe just about an inch. I'll be able to see it clearer once I take it off. What I might also do is take a wee ½ inch off the width of the shoulder, because it is kind of going out over the top of my shoulder a bit and sticking out. So I might take a wee half inch or so off of that, which makes that the darts in a much better place now, just by taking up that inch. Now at the side here, I think I'm looking at a couple of inches under the arm here, because I'm looking at least an inch each side, haven't I? couple of inches, but I don't want that all the way down because I want it to stay quite A-line. So I'm just going to take a couple of inches in there and grade it down towards the dart, I think. So I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to start by obviously making sure I've got both the shoulders the same and see how we go from there. Right, so I've got them all tight together. I've undone the linings for a bit, and I'm just going to take basically the seam allowance off and then redo the seam allowance. And why are you being like this? I need to shift you over a little bit. There we go. Okay, and my scissors, and I'm gonna do this before I redo the seam so that I'm not cutting off like the end of my stitching. And I can tidy that up in a minute. Okay, now I'm just going to cut off at the old seam line. It was easier to do it while it was still sewn together than to do it, open it up first, because it just stayed together a bit easier.
So at this point, the family all came crashing home because they'd been out shopping. So I decided to switch into voiceover mode because you didn't need to hear all the chaos of bringing shopping in and tell me what they'd been up to. So once I'd re-sewn those shoulder seams, press the seam allowances back in, and I'll close the shoulders back up later. So when we come to the underarms, what I actually did was I undid just a tiny bit at the underarms so that the lining and the outer fabric were slightly separate, just to make it a little bit easier to get into to do the stitching. And I measured out about just over an inch from the seam, obviously not from the edge, from the seam, and that gave me like an inch front and an inch back, so that's like basically taking in 2 inches. And then I took my ruler and graded that down towards the bottom of that big long dart, because I want to keep the basic A-line shape of the dress, and I'm actually happy to even like exaggerate that A-line. I want it really to look, like a proper A-line. So if I grade that in, then it takes it in at the bust without losing any width at the bottom. So I will do that obviously to the lining also, which is easier said than done with a cat on the ironing board, because I don't have the full space, and also the lining's really slippery, and it kept sliding off the ironing board, and the cat, as you can see, is just so completely unbothered that I can just struggle. And I mean, yes, I could move her, but I'm not that mean. And also, as we discovered last week, she finds ways to get her own back, and I really did not want to be on my hands and knees picking up pins again. So I will just continue to work around her. We've got a lovely little working relationship going on. So just take that over to both the machines and sew it and redo with the overlocker, so that even though it's completely lined, I'm still overlocking the seam finishings just to give it a little bit extra durability. Make sure it, because obviously, you know, it's corduroy, it can go through the wash and it might get some heavy wear, so I don't want it to start fraying and falling apart. And now that we've re-sewn, retrimmed and overlocked that, we'll just press that seam, make sure it's all nice and neat before we close up under the arms again, just those wee bit stitches. So once we've done that and we don't need access to the inside anymore, I'm going to close up the lining at the shoulder seam by hand like I did when I originally made it, remembering that I'd taken in a little bit at the shoulder, so I just need to take in a little bit of the lining as well and pin it in place. I get it all neatly pinned into place and then I can slip stitch it all down and it's nice and neat. And then the last thing to do was to take up the hem. So I tried it on and decided how much I wanted to lose, and started by just completely cutting off the old hem. I'm still going to hem the outer and the lining separately because I think it'll sit better that way. So rather than needing to unpick or anything, because I'm taking it up by quite a bit, I'm just completely cutting off the old hem and then pressing up the new hem. I'm doing a biggish hem. I think all in I've taken off probably 3 or 4 inches from the original length that it was, and I'd already shortened it when I shortened the pattern when I was making it, so you can tell how short I am, because in the picture it's above the knees, and you know, I don't know how tall these people are in the picture, because, and then I catch stitched the hem while I'm sitting in my chair with my feet up. And then I forget that I've got time lapse on, and basically you get the whole of the rest of my evening. I have some Doritos, I do some sock knitting, there's wandering about, I'm watching a bit of telly, I'll have my dinner now. Completely forgot that my time lapse was on until I was looking for my phone later on in the evening. And so enjoy my evening. And now it is time for the reveal. And here it is. I'm so delighted with this. I'm so delighted with how this has turned out. I'm glad that I just pulled myself together and made the alterations, because I'm going to get so much use out of this. And, you know, also have these gorgeous little vintage shoes that Stuart found to sell. Theoretically, they're actually a tiny bit big for me. I could do with an insole or a heel grip. And yes, Stuart does actually have them on for sale on Vinted. But look how cute they are. They're kind of late 60s, early 70s. And with the 70s-ness of the pinafore, I just think they look ever so cute, don't they? So that is pretty much it from me this week, my darlings. I didn't manage an awful lot else, however I'm delighted with that pinafore. I'm so glad that I got around to doing those alterations, because I think I'm going to get lots of wear out of it. In fact, I'm so delighted with it. I think it's so cute that I think I'll definitely make more. Stuart loved it too. He thought it was super cute. When I came down wearing it, he was like, oh, that's adorable, I love that. So yes, so I definitely think I will make at least one more of those pinafores. And while it was in my mind, I marked the alterations on the actual paper pattern, so that when I come to do it next time, hopefully I'll get the size right first time. Up here for thinking, not just a hat rack. So yes, so the only other thing I've managed to do this week is a bit of knitting. So we've turned the heel and the gusset, and we're on our way through the foot of the socks. The sock's nearly finished, which would be great, because I had a commission come in this week, which is very unusual these days. I very, very rarely do commissions, but a friend of mine that I made one of my neck warmers for years ago has requested another one for a friend of hers. So I'm waiting for the yarn for that to arrive, because she wanted exactly the same yarn, which it was years ago I knitted it, and I was like, I can't remember what yarn I used. But fortunately, I'd bought the yarn on eBay, so I went back through my purchase history and I was able to find the exact same yarn, which I'm really quite delighted with myself about. So I'm waiting for the yarn for that to arrive, and that's what I'll be doing next week. I'll be doing the neck warmer for my friend, and I think that's it. I think that's everything this week. So as you can see, not quite such a good day today. I'm in my daytime pajamas, no makeup, you know, no hair done, but you know, it is what it is. And I'm going to sit and I'm going to finish this sock and relax a bit. And yeah, so as usual, I want to know what you've all been up to, what you've been making, what you've been doing, what's been bringing you joy. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for listening to all my ramblings. Annie wants to show you something. Hang on a second.
Do not turn the camera.
I'm not going to turn the camera, but she wants to show you something because she's been teaching herself how to crochet with the help of YouTube tutorials and things like that. So she's been making little gifts for her friends.
Just take
So she's made this little petal thing, and it's got a safety pin on the back to use as a little brooch, and she's just started a little blue edging round it. It's super cute. Super cute.
I have another one that's
And
just
you've got another one that you've just started, and that's going to be the additional petal on the front. That one's going to make it into a little flower. So she's doing, oh sorry, I've taken the needle out of that, darling. So she's doing really well with that.
Oh dear,
And this is another one for another friend. It's a little keepsake because her friend's moving away to London, and she wants him to have a little keepsake. So
it's like a big brother to me.
He's like a big brother to her, so she just wants him to have a little something from her. And are you going to put that on a keychain?
I think both.
Yeah.
The keychain
And a pin in case he wants to wear it, but or he can put it on his keychain. So it's adorable. She's doing ever so well teaching herself to crochet. She's best doing it that way rather than me trying to teach her, because she just can work it out at her own speed and take her time.
I have found one video on YouTube that is like step by step, this is how.
Yeah, so following a YouTube tutorial and pausing it when she needs to is definitely working for her. That's how I kind of taught myself to crochet with books and videos and things, because it just works better for our brain, doesn't it, Dad? So yeah, so she's doing ever so well with her crafting as well. Can I show them your little tin?
That's a googly eye.
So she's got these lovely little things in it, these little crochet keepsakes that she's making. She stores everything in her little tin. It's really cute. So anyway, yes, so that's what she's up to this week. So let me know how you all are. Thank you for listening to my ramblings, and I hope you and your loved ones are safe and well and doing as well as can possibly be expected. And until the next time, love from Liz.